process is classified. Okay, so that we're going to see in details. But in the Pelton wheel or Pelton turbine, okay, so you'll get one derivation. Okay, so that is condition for maximum hydraulic efficiency. Okay, condition for maximum hydraulic efficiencies. They have only one derivation in unit 2. So later we're going to see uh, the working principle of Pelton turbine. So before derivation, okay, we're going to discuss how this Pelton turbine will work. Okay, and problems on Pelton turbine. So next, the Francis turbine. So you don't have any derivation on Francis turbine. So just learn how to draw the velocity triangle. Okay, how to draw the velocity triangle and the runner shapes of different blade speeds and simple problems. Okay, simple problems on Francis turbine. Okay, so this is the syllabus of unit 2. So that is hydraulic turbines. Okay, so first let us start. So what is this hydraulic turbines? So while coming to this hydraulic turbine, so hydraulic turbines are the machines which converts energy possessed by water. Okay, so that is potential energy and the kinetic energy. Okay, so that we can call it as an energy possessed by water into mechanical energy. Okay, so whatever we have the hydraulic turbine, so we can call it as a prime mover. Okay, it is a prime mover because hydraulic is nothing but water. Using that water, okay, when the turbine is rotating, okay, so that we can call it as the hydraulic turbines. So it is a prime mover which converts the energy possessed by water. Okay, the energy possessed by water into mechanical energy. So we have the water. By using that water, okay, the turbine is rotating. So in the turbine, once the turbine is rotating, so that we can call it as a mechanical energy. Okay, so that we can call it as a mechanical energy. This mechanical energy is further converted into electrical energy. Okay, so whatever we are getting the mechanical energy, so further this mechanical energy is converting into electrical energy, but with the help of a generator. So this is very important because whatever we are getting the electricity, okay, whatever we are getting the energy from water, okay, it is not directly connected to the power station. Okay, so we have the mechanical energy, so that is the turbine unit. So that turbine unit further it is connected or coupled to the generator, because in that generator, okay, they will going to step up. Okay, they will going to step up. So that's why this mechanical energy is further converted into electrical energy with the help of a generator. Okay, with the help of a generator, so which is directly coupled, okay, or connected to the shaft of the turbine. So further, the electrical power generated from the energy of water is known as hydroelectric power. Okay, is known as hydroelectric power because hydro is nothing but water. So we can call it water electric power or simply hydroelectric power. So this is the definition of This is the definition of hydraulic turbines. Okay. So next, here we can see the hydroelectric power plant, or simply we can call it a hydroelectric power station. Okay. So before going to this, okay, so before going to this, okay, I will going to show one small video. Okay, I will going to show one small. So here we can see the Pelton turbine. Yeah. So I'll going to stop here. Okay, I'll going to stop here, and you just see this PPT. Okay. So whatever this hydroelectric power plant or power station. Okay, first it consists of a dam. Okay, or simply we can call it as a reservoir. Okay, we can call it as a reservoir. Okay. Next, it consists of a penstock. Okay, it consists of later we'll tell what is this penstock. Okay, and after that, here we can see the nozzle with spear. Okay, this is the nozzle with spear, and this completely we can call it as a turbine unit. Okay, this completely we can call it as a turbine unit. Okay, so it mainly consists of okay, so dam or a reservoir, and here it is a penstock and nozzle with spear, and this completely we can call it as a turbine unit. Further, this turbine, okay, is coupled or a connected, okay, to the generator. Okay, so here we have the shaft. Okay, this shaft is further coupled or connected to the generator. Okay, so now I'll come back to the video. Okay, I'll come back to the video. So here we can see the reservoir. So or simply we can call it as a dam. Got it? So after this dam, okay, here we have the surge tank. See, in this video we can see the surge tank, but in the diagram, okay, the surge tank is not included because this is the very important role in the power station. Okay, this is very important in the power station. Okay, so what is this surge tank? So surge tank, I can call it as an A. Okay, so whatever this surge tank, it will going to maintain the constant head. Head is nothing but the water level. Okay, what is head? Head is nothing but, okay, so it will going to maintain the constant water level, because once surge tank is not there, okay, so whatever the water, we will get the fluctuation. Okay, we will get the fluctuation. So that is the supply of the water. So but once surge tank is there, okay, it will going to maintain the constant head to the turbine. So that's why the surge tank is very, very, very important in Pelton wheel or in a Pelton turbine. Okay, so next here we can see the penstock head. Okay, here we can see the penstock head, because this we can call it as a penstock. Penstock is nothing but it is a large diameter pipe. Okay, it is a large diameter pipe. So the diameter is varying from 8 to 10 meters. Okay, the diameter of the penstock or the diameter of this pipe is varying from 8 to 10 meters. So that's why we can call it a penstock is nothing but it is a large diameter pipe. It is connected from, okay, it is connected from reservoir to nozzle. So here you can see in the diagram, we can see the penstock is connected from reservoir to the nozzle. To the nozzle. Got it? So that is the penstock. So next we can see the here. Now we can see. So here you just see here. Okay, so this is the nozzle. Okay, as in the diagram we can see this is the nozzle, and this completely we can penstock. So penstock is connected from reservoir to up to the nozzle. Okay, up to the nozzle. Got it? Yeah. So we can check here. So here we have the nozzle. Okay, so it is we can operate it manually. Even in the lab also you can see the Pelton turbine. Okay, so whatever the here we can see one handle is there. Got it? So once we can rotate this one, okay, we can control the flow rate of the water. So we can control the flow rate of the water. So because whatever this nozzle, okay, so inside this nozzle the pressure will be reduces and velocity will be increases. Okay, velocity will be increases, and that jet of velocity of water, okay, then directly hitting on the turbine blade. So this completely I can call it as a turbine unit. This completely I can call it as a turbine unit. Got it? Got it? So this we can call it as a hydroelectric power plant. Okay, so I'll complete this video. So this is the jet of water. Now it is slow down. Okay, this I'll go to cover in the construction and working principles of a Pelton wheel. Yes. Now, so now I'll coming to here. Okay. So here we have the reservoir. After that reservoir, we have the surge tank. The surge tank is only to maintain the constant head. Okay, constant head. And penstock. Penstock is nothing but it is in a large diameter pipe. Okay, and this is the nozzle with spear. Okay, this complete we can call it a nozzle with spear. Okay, and this is the turbine unit. So here we can see the different heads. Okay, here we can see the different heads. Okay, head is nothing but, okay, head is nothing but, so it is the level of the water. Okay, head is nothing but, okay, it is the level of the water. Okay, level of the water. So that we can call it as a head. Okay. So first I'll come for the gross head. Okay, I'll come for the gross head. So gross head is nothing but, gross head is nothing but the height or the distance between from the tail race. Tail race is nothing but, okay, so we can call it as the river level. Okay, or the simply we can call it as at bottom level of the turbine. So that is known as a river level. Okay, to the okay, so up to the dam level. So that we can call it as a gross head. So what is a dam level? We can call it as a head race. Okay, we can call it as a head race. Okay, the distance between from head race to tail race, we can call it as a gross head. Means there is a no loss. Okay, there is no loss of the water. Means the water is not moving through the penstock. So that height we can call it as a gross head. So it is denoted by Hg. because this is very important while solving the problems. Okay, this is very important while solving the problem. Okay, so gross head is nothing but the distance between head race to the tail race. Okay, is known as a gross head. Okay, is known as the gross head. Okay, next I want net head. Okay, I want net head. So that is H. Okay, when the water is okay flowing through the penstock, okay, then the water is the fluid is flowing through this penstock. Okay, then we can see some level. Okay, so it is not up to the head race. Okay, so we can see up to some distance. Okay, the distance between from this level to up to the nozzle level, so that we can call it as a net head. Okay, why we'll get the net head? Because already some the water is okay flowing through this penstock and entering into the turbine. Okay, so that height we can call it as a net head. Okay, so while coming to this hydroelectric power station, so first it is a consist of a reservoir. Okay, or simply we can call it a dam. So water harvested from the catchment areas is stored in the reservoir, which is then used to generate the electricity. So in this diagram, okay, surge tank is not given, but here we mentioned the surge tank because you should know, okay, you should know what is this surge tank. Surge tank is built in between dam and the valve house. Okay, the surge tank, it is built in between dam and the valve house. It is used to take care of the system load fluctuations. So just now I told, okay, so whatever this surge tank, it will going to maintain the constant head. Okay, it will going to maintain the constant head due to this system load fluctuations. Okay, so that's why the surge tank, okay, it will act the important role in the Pelton turbine. Next, penstock. Penstock, okay, so it is in a water pipeline carrying water from dam to turbine. Okay, penstock is nothing but it is in a large diameter pipe. Okay, so the water is carrying from dam to the turbine, that is from reservoir to the turbine. So what is head race? Head race is nothing but the free surface of water in the reservoir. So that is a top level. Okay, free surface of water in the reservoir. Then what is tail race? The outlet water of turbine is discharging to the river through tail race. So whatever once the work is completed, okay, in the turbine, then the water is getting discharged. Okay, the water will be get discharged to the river. So that we can call it as a tail race. So that is bottom of the turbine unit. Then what is gross head? So it is denoted by HG, height between head race as well as the tail race. See here we can see the height between head race as well as the tail race. That we can call it as a gross head. It is denoted by HG. Then what is net head? So it is denoted by H. It is the head available at the inlet of the turbine. Okay, inlet of the turbine. So here we can see here at the inlet of the turbine. Okay. So next I want what is net head? Okay, what is net head? So net head is given by Hg minus Hf. So whatever this H, okay, it is a frictional head loss. Okay, this we can call it as a frictional head loss. So Hg minus Hf. Okay, Hg minus Hf. So now my question is, Okay, my question is, see, already, okay, you studied, okay, already you studied the head loss due to friction through the pipe. Okay, so now my question is, what is the formula for that? Okay, what is the formula for head loss due to friction? So anyone, you can unmute and you can tell. What is the formula for head loss due to friction? Head loss due to friction. So anyone? Okay, then I will going to call your names. Prasad. So 2J17ME089. Prasad. Okay, Harsh.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So do you remember what is the formula for head loss due to friction?
Formula for
Head loss due to friction.
loss due to friction.
Now, whether you know or you don't know.
Delta H is equal to
Hmm.
FD LV square divided by D2G.
Okay, right. Okay,
Okay.
next I'll come for here. So I want H. H is nothing but it is a net head. Okay, H is nothing but net head. Okay, it is given by Hg minus Hf. Hg is nothing but gross head. Okay, Hg is nothing but it is a gross head. Hf is nothing but head loss due to friction. Okay, head loss due to friction. So the formula for head loss due to friction, it is given by 4FL B square divided by 2G into D. Okay, head loss due to friction, the formula is given by 4FL V square divided by 2G into D. Okay, but here I mentioned star. Okay, for velocity here I mentioned star, and for diameter also I mentioned star. The reason is, okay, the reason is while coming to the penstock, because see here the water, okay, whatever the water, got it? So it is passing through this penstock. Okay, whatever the water is passing through the penstock. Okay, the penstock, because up to the nozzle, okay, so we can call it as a penstock. Okay, after that here also we are getting some diameter. So that's why in this formula I mentioned, okay, 4FL V star. V star is nothing but, okay, velocity of fluid through the penstock. So this is very important. Okay, this is very important. Okay, velocity of fluid through the penstock, and d star is nothing but diameter of penstock. These two are very, very, very important while solving the problems. Okay, because suppose if I mentioned, okay, 4FL V square by 2G into D, but which diameter? Whether it is an a jet diameter or the diameter of the penstock. So that is very important. Okay, so that's why, okay, so whatever the head loss due to friction, it is given by 4FL V star square by 2G into D star. So D star is nothing but diameter of the penstock, and V star is nothing but velocity of fluid through the penstock here. Okay, so that is very, very, very important here. Got it? So I hope you understood. Okay, so the hydroelectric power plant with different heads. Okay, with different heads. If you have any doubt, you can ask.
No doubt, sir.
Yeah, okay. So, clearly understood. So what is gross head? What is net head? In next hour. Okay, so at 1 o'clock I'll going to continue. So want break or shall I continue?
Sir, break.
Okay, okay. Unit 1. So that is the classifications of a turbo machines. Okay, even the same also we can write here also, or the same you can write in the first unit also. Okay, there is a no uh, difference. So first, well, coming to the classifications of particularly in hydraulic turbines, or instead of calling classifications, okay, I will going to call the characteristics. Okay, the characteristics of a different turbines. So whether it is on a Pelton turbine or Pelton wheel, or a Francis turbine, or it is on a Kaplan turbine. Got it? Because this is very, very, very important. Okay, for your vivos. Okay, for your lab exam. So based on the okay, based on the action of water, or simply we can call it as an the energy transfer. Okay, so either I can call it an action of water or based on the energy transfer on blades. Okay, so based on the action of water on blades, so we can call it as an impulse turbine, and another one is an reaction turbine. See, I won't take much time for this because already you know what is impulse turbine and you know what is reaction turbine. See, impulse turbine is nothing but, so here example I took Pelton wheel. Okay, so first diagram indicates it is in a Pelton wheel because see here the nozzle is present. Okay, here you can see the portion nozzle is present because in this the pressure will reduces and the velocity will be increases. So then only we will get the high jet of velocity striking on the turbine blades. Got it? So here what happens after striking the blades? Okay, the pressure remains constant throughout the turbine. Okay, pressure remains okay constant throughout the turbine. Got it? So that's why we can call it as an impulse turbine because directly the jet of water striking on turbine blades. Okay, so that's why we can call it as an impulse turbine. So example for this impulse turbine, okay, it is an Pelton wheel. Pelton wheel. So while coming to the reaction turbine, so I gave example of balloon. Okay, and one more is an a land sprinkler. Okay, one more is an a land sprinkler. So in the reaction turbine, okay, nozzle is completely absent. Okay, we don't have nozzle, but instead of nozzle, okay, so here I'm going to show, okay, instead of nozzle, okay, so here we can say this is the moving blade and this is the fixed blade. So yellow color, whatever that yellow color indicating, it is a fixed blade or it is a stationary blades. The main function of these blades are, okay, so it is guiding, okay, the water to the moving blades. Okay, so whatever this yellow color or fixed blade, it will act as a nozzle itself. Okay, whatever this fixed blade, okay, it will act as a nozzle itself. So this first water is entering into this fixed blade, then this fixed blade or the guide blade, it is guiding water to the rotating blades or to the moving blades. So that's why we can call it as a reaction turbine. Okay, reaction turbine. So like a sprinkler. Okay, like a sprinkler. So example for this reaction turbine. Okay, example for this reaction turbine or Francis turbine. Okay, Francis as well as Kaplan turbine. Okay, so example for this reaction turbines is a, so here we can see this is the Francis turbine and this is the Kaplan turbine. Okay, so that is the based on the action of water on blades. Okay, so one is an impulse action and another one is an reaction action. Okay, another one is an reaction action. So next we'll move for based on the direction of flow of fluid. Okay, based on the direction of flow of fluid. Okay, so first I'll come for tangential flow. Okay, first I'll come for tangential flow. So tangential flow, so here we can see the turbine blade. Okay, for this turbine blade, the jet of water striking tangentially. Okay, or simply we can call it tangent to the circle. So this is the circle and this is the line. Okay, tangent to the circle. Okay, so such type of flow we can call it as a tangential flow. Example, Pelton wheel. Okay, Pelton wheel. Okay, always it is a tangential flow type turbine. The reason is this one, because this is the turbine blades or rotor. Okay, for this rotor, the jet of water striking in this manner. Okay, so that is the jet of water striking tangentially to the turbine blades. Okay, so example, Pelton wheel. Next, I will come for the axial flow. Okay, we know axial flow is nothing but, okay, so if the shaft is rotating horizontally or vertically, okay, the shaft is rotating horizontally or vertically along with rotation, okay, along with that axis, okay, the fluid is flowing. The fluid is flowing. So such type we can call it as an axial flow, or simply we can call it as an parallel. Okay, so if the shaft is rotating in horizontal or vertical, even the fluid is flowing parallel to that rotation. So such type of flow we can call it as an axial flow. Example, Kaplan turbine. So here we can see the Kaplan turbine. So this Kaplan turbine, okay, it is rotating vertically. Okay, so it is rotating vertically. Even here also we can see the fluid is also flowing in vertically. Okay, such type of turbines we can call it as an axial flow turbine or axial flow type. Okay, example, Kaplan turbine. Okay, so Kaplan turbine, it is not in your syllabus, but you should know. So next is any radial flow. Okay, radial is nothing but perpendicular to the, okay, so to the rotation of the shaft. Okay, so perpendicular to the rotation of the shaft. So suppose if the shaft is rotating horizontally or vertically, okay, for that axis, okay, the fluid is entering, okay, perpendicular or radial. So such type of flow we can call it as a radial flow type. Example, Francis turbine. So third diagram you can see the, okay, third diagram you can see the Francis turbine. Okay, so next another one is a mixed flow. Mixed flow is nothing but, okay, either inlet is axial flow and outlet is radial flow, or vice versa. Okay, or vice versa. So inlet is radial flow and outlet is axial flow. Okay, example, modern Francis turbine, because nowadays all or it is a modern Francis turbine only, because we have the mixed flow. So inlet is radial and outlet is axial. Okay, inlet is radial and outlet is axial, or vice versa. So such type of flow we can call it as a mixed flow. So example for this mixed flow is a modern Francis turbine, or simply we can call it as a Francis turbine. Okay, so that is based on the direction of flow of fluid. So next will come for based on the head at inlet. So head, I told it is an a height or a distance. Okay, based on the head. And fourth one you can see based on the specific speed. See, in the first unit itself, okay, we discussed, okay, head, what is, if head is maximum, okay, the specific speed is low. Even here also you can see. So here also you can see, if head is maximum, what about the specific speed? It is a minimum. So not a minimum, it is a low. Yeah. So while coming to the third classification, so based on the head at the inlet, okay, first one is high head. Okay, first one is high head. So here you can see the range. It is varying from 200 meters to, okay, 1700 meters. Okay, example, Pelton wheel. Okay, because this Pelton wheel is suitable for only high heads. Okay, so Pelton wheel, it is suitable for only high heads. Got it? So next is a medium head. So medium head is 50 to 200 meters. So example, Francis turbine. Another one is a low head. So it is 2.5 to 50. So example for this low head, it is a Kaplan turbine. Okay. See, for this high head is nothing but, okay, it required the distance should be very high. Okay, so example, we took a Pelton wheel. See, in our Karnataka, the Pelton wheel, okay, this Pelton wheel is presented in Sharavati power plant. So that is situated in Shivamogga. Okay, in the Shivamogga district. So there we have the Sharavati power plant. Okay, so there we can see the Pelton wheel. While coming to the Francis turbine, okay, so you heard the name of Linganamakki, even in Karnataka. So we can see the Linganamakki. So there the head is a medium. Okay, so it is around, okay, so 180 meters. So there we can see the Francis turbine. And another one is a low head. So it is a Kaplan turbine. So you heard the name of Shivana Samudra. So we say it is near to Mysore. Okay, so there we can see the Kaplan turbine. Okay, there we can see the Kaplan turbine. So that is based on the head at inlet. Okay, so high head, medium head, and another was a low head. So next, while coming to the based on the specific speed of the turbine. Okay, once you know head, okay, so it is inversely proportional. So we can see if high head, we have the low specific speed, example Pelton wheel. For medium specific speed, okay, example Francis turbine, because even head also medium. So next, high specific speed turbine, example Kaplan, because we can see low head. Okay, we can see the low head. So these are the classifications of so hydraulic turbines. Okay, these are the classifications of hydraulic turbine. So first one is based on the action of water on turbine blades, based on the direction of flow of fluid, based on the head at inlet, based on the specific speed of the turbine. Okay, so now I have one question. Okay, now I have one question. What are the characteristics? Okay, what are the characteristics of a Pelton turbine or a Pelton wheel? So what are the characteristics of the Pelton turbine or a Pelton wheel? So anyone can answer. Anyone. So answer with you only. You just see the slides. You just see the slides. Okay, you just tell the characteristics of a Pelton turbine or a Pelton wheel. I think all are sleeping. Okay, no problem. So tell the characteristics. You just see the slides.
Sir, as far as I know, Pelton wheel is about it holds 16% of total type of generators used.
Okay.
And what else can I say?
Now, you just tell, by seeing this slide, you just tell the characteristics of a Pelton wheel or a Pelton turbine.
So, Pelton wheel, Pelton
Yeah.
turbine.
Okay, I will come. Okay, I will come. So first, I will tell the characteristics of a Pelton wheel. See, Pelton wheel is a type of a impulse turbine.
Yes.
Yes.
See, here I give the example. So Pelton wheel, okay, it is in a type of a impulse turbine. Next, it is in a tangential flow type turbine. Am I right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Next, I'll come for another one. Okay, it is suitable for high heads and it is in a low specific speed of a turbine. Got it? So these are the basic characteristics of a Pelton wheel. I'll repeat once again because in the lab you have the Pelton wheel and you have the Francis turbine. Got it? So if they ask what are the characteristics of Pelton wheel and Francis turbine, so you're ready to answer. So Pelton wheel, it is a type of a impulse turbine. It is a tangential flow and it is in a high head and low specific speed turbine. Similarly, the characteristics of a Francis turbine. So Francis turbine is a type of a reaction turbine. Got it? And it is in a radial flow type. Okay, or simply we can call it a mixed flow type. Okay, so next it is in a medium head type and the medium specific speed of a turbine. So these are the characteristics of Francis turbine. Similarly, you can tell the characteristics of a Kaplan turbine. Got it? So that's why I told if you know the classifications, so then easily you can identify the characteristics of a Pelton, Francis as well as the Kaplan turbine. Okay. So these are the classifications of hydraulic turbines. So next we'll move for the different efficiencies or the various efficiencies of hydraulic turbines. Okay, so here we can see hydraulic efficiency, volumetric efficiency, mechanical efficiency, and overall efficiency. Okay, first I'll come for mechanical efficiency. What is mechanical efficiency? So simply we can tell it is an output by input. Okay, output by input. So it will give the mechanical efficiency. But in particularly hydraulic turbines. Okay, in particularly hydraulic turbines. So we're going to see these 4 different efficiencies. Okay, 4 different efficiencies. Got it? So before going to the different efficiencies, first you should know the line diagram. Okay, or this is the layout. So nozzle we have. Okay, so or else first I'll show this diagram. Okay, so first we can take this diagram. So this is the nozzle. After that nozzle, okay, we have the turbine unit. After this turbine unit, this turbine further it is connected to the generator. Okay, further it is connected to the generator. Got my point? See, here also we have the nozzle. Okay, so here we have the turbine unit. Further we have the generator. So further we have the generator. Please remember this diagram. Once you know this diagram, then easily you can write the different. Okay, easily you can write the different efficiencies. Okay, so here we can see. So here we can see the water at inlet. Okay, so this we can call it as a water power at inlet. So it is in a W Q into H by 1000 because it is in a kilowatt. Okay, W Q H by 1000. So this I can call it as an inlet. Okay, water power at the inlet. So then it is entering into the nozzle. Okay, it is entering into the nozzle. Once it is entering into the nozzle, okay, we will get the velocities. Okay, so that is the kinetic energy. Okay, so that kinetic energy, or simply we can call the kinetic energy as well as the pressure energy, is converting into, okay, it is converting into mechanical energy. So that is work done per second. In the turbine, we can see work done per second. Okay, so further, okay, work done per second, we got the power. Okay, we got the power. Got it? We got the power. So that is here. So further, okay, it is sending to the generator. Whatever we are got mechanical energy, further it is sending to the, converting to the electrical energy. So that is step up or step down. Got it? Based on this, okay, based on this, okay, we can tell the different classifications. Okay, we can tell the different classifications. So first I'll come for hydraulic efficiency. Okay, first I'll come for the hydraulic efficiency. Okay, you just see in the diagram from where to where we are getting the hydraulic efficiency. Hydraulic is nothing but water. So water it is, okay, coming from the reservoir, okay, entering to the nozzle through penstock. Then this, whatever here, okay, it is sending to the turbine, means kinetic energy as well as this pressure energy, it is converting, okay, mechanical energy. So what we got, work done per second. Okay, work done per second by the kinetic energy, by kinetic energy per second. Okay, then what is the equation for this work done per second? So we got, it is in a m into VU1 U1. So it is in a plus or minus, or simply we can take it as in a plus VU2 U2 divided by kinetic energy. It is in a of mv square. Okay, of mv square. So mm will get cancelled. Okay, mm will get cancelled because we can write that m into is rho into discharge. Rho into discharge. Got it? So it will gives the hydraulic efficiency. So hydraulic efficiency is nothing but work done per second by the kinetic energy per second. Got it? You have any doubt in the hydraulic efficiency? Because hydraulic is nothing but water. Okay, whatever that water, okay, it is entering to the nozzle and also to the turbine. So from year to year, okay, we can call it as a hydraulic efficiency. Hydraulic efficiency. Okay, then I'll come for the mechanical efficiency. What is the mechanical efficiency? So here we can see, so it is the ratio of, okay, it is the ratio of shaft power output. Okay, because we have the turbine, further this turbine, it is connected to the generator. So I can call here shaft power output by the turbine to the power developed by the runner. By the runner means turbine. Okay, by the runner means turbine. Got it? So I will repeat once again here. So it is the ratio of, so mechanical efficiency, it is the ratio of shaft power output. So here we can see the shaft power output by the turbine to the power developed. Okay, where power developed by the runner. So it will gives the mechanical efficiency. So shaft power, we got P. And what is the power developed by the runner? So power developed by the runner is work done per second. Okay, work done per second. So it will gives, okay, it will gives the mechanical efficiency. Okay, it will give the mechanical efficiency. So whatever the hydraulic potential energy as well as kinetic energy, it is converting to the mechanical energy. Okay, further this mechanical energy is converting to the electrical energy. So then what is the turbine here? So that is the mechanical. So whatever output power, okay, so this is the output power by the input power. So P by T. So that is the shaft power divided by the power developed by the runner. Okay, so it will gives the mechanical efficiency. It will gives the mechanical efficiency. So next, what is overall efficiency? Overall efficiency is nothing but from nozzle to up to the generator. Okay, so simply I can call it as an overall efficiency is the product of hydraulic efficiency as well as the mechanical efficiency. Okay, overall efficiency is hydraulic efficiency into the mechanical efficiency, or or it is the ratio of shaft output power by the turbine. This is okay. It is the ratio of shaft output power by the turbine to the water power available at inlet of the turbine. Okay, inlet of the turbine. So that is WQH by 1000. Okay, so from year to year, so P divided by, okay, WQH by 1000. So what is this? So this I can call it as a water power at inlet. Okay, water power at inlet. So while solving the problem, so simply we can take it as an overall efficiency is, okay, hydraulic efficiency into mechanical efficiency. Okay, so it is the overall efficiency. Then another one is the volumetric efficiency. Okay, so volumetric efficiency is nothing but the volume. Okay, so before going to the efficiency, what is volumetric? The amount. Okay, so the amount of water entering into the turbine. Okay, so that we can call it as a volume. The volume of water entered to the turbine. Okay, so there we can see the volumetric efficiency, but here not mentioned. So volumetric efficiency, it is the ratio of, see, quantity of water actually striking the runner. So here, so that is the quantity of water actually striking the runner to the quantity of water supplied to the runner. Okay, so simply we can call it as an okay, quantity of water striking to the water supplied. So it will gives the volumetric efficiency of the hydraulic turbine. Okay, hydraulic turbine. Okay, so I hope you understood mechanical efficiency, hydraulic efficiency, and overall efficiency. But here they not mentioned the volumetric efficiency. Okay, the volumetric efficiency is nothing but it is the ratio of quantity of water, means that is the actual water striking to the water supplied to the runner. Okay, to the runner. So it will gives the volumetric efficiency of the hydraulic turbine. Okay, I hope you understood the different efficiencies in the hydraulic turbine. If you have any doubt, you can ask.
Sir, what is the portion for tomorrow's open book assignment?
In FM, okay, it is a first unit only. For FP, I think FP, it may be third unit off, and in fourth unit you may get one question.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so already I shared my notes. Okay, you refer that notes. Okay, for my part, and for Arshit sir. Okay, I think it is unit 3. So that is FP part, and in unit 4.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So I'm going to stop here. So in the next class, we're going to see the working principle of a Pelton wheel and derivation. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.